MVP, left practice, and this is what our Baltimore reporter Jamison Hensley posted. Jackson left Wednesday practice early with what appeared to be a right wrist hand injury. About 90 minutes into practice, Jackson got knocked down. He stayed for a few more plays, and he headed into the facility. Now we have Jamison Hensley. We had a few technical difficulties there early on in the A's. What did you learn about Lamar leaving practice early today?
Yeah, the Ravens didn't want to leave anybody hanging. A team spokesman said immediately after practice ended that Lamar Jackson had his foot stepped on and he is fine. But that was kind of the scare out here today, is because Lamar Jackson has proven to be very durable over the years. He hasn't missed a game due to injury since the end of the 2022 season. And the Ravens have always tried to minimize the risk of him getting hurt because they haven't played him in the preseason for the past 4 years. But out there today, was inadvertently knocked to the ground, came up, and as you said, he kind of was flexing his wrist a little bit, threw a couple more passes before then heading into the facility with some of the team medical staff. He did not return. The Ravens return to the practice field tomorrow, and we'll see if Lamar Jackson will be out there.
Jamison, thank you so much for that information. That's big news for the Baltimore Ravens and their quarterback, Lamar Jackson. They are expected to make a huge push for the Super Bowl this year. Now, there was a big decision that came out of Cleveland this week where Joe Flacco was named the starter. When we think about this team, we think about what Joe Flacco was in 2023. Kevin Stefanski addressed the media to tell us why this decision was made.
Joe performed really well, both in practice, in the joint practices. I want to give credit to that entire group. I think those guys are working very, very hard. We have a standard for that position regardless of who's in there. Joe, having done it at a high level, has done it here. That lends itself to confidence in himself and confidence from his teammates.
Graz, we all kind of felt that Joe Flacco was going to be the guy headed into the season. But what can you tell us about the Browns' plans for the rest of the quarterback room?
Well, you know, RC, they're in flux. The Browns coaching staff is figuring out now how to order the room behind Joe Flacco. You know, who's going to be the number two? Who would go into the game if they show up for week one to play the Bengals and during that game Joe Flacco were to get injured and need to be replaced? They don't know yet. Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Kenny Pickett all have dealt with injuries throughout camp, which is one of the reasons, you know, Flacco kind of got the gig, because they didn't really see what they needed to see from any of those other guys due to the time that they missed. So I think the Browns coaching staff is just going to take these next couple of weeks before the start of the season to get these guys as many reps as they can, see where things stand, and then figure out who they're comfortable with as the backup in case something were to happen to Flacco. And then from then on, you know, it's week to week. Now, are they going to be able to carry 4 quarterbacks? Big question. Stefanski has said it's going to be tough. If they don't, is somebody injured enough to go on injured reserve to start the season? Would there be interest in a trade for one of those other guys? Those are questions they have to answer as well. But if they have all 4 and all 4 are healthy, they got to figure out who's 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, I think they definitely got to figure that out. I think we all agree that Joe Flacco was going to be the week 1 starter. I think Kenny Pickett maybe was insurance early on until you saw what you had in Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. But now that we've kind of seen a little bit with Dillon Gabriel looking really good, being very accurate, and Shedeur Sanders looking like he's got that it factor, I think the odd man out is going to be Kenny Pickett. Nothing against 2 gloves, because I like wearing 2 gloves when it gets cold. But I don't need my quarterback wearing 2 gloves. I'm done with Kenny Pickett. I've seen enough, RC. I think as the Browns move forward, Joe Flacco is going to be given a lot of room early on. But I think eventually we're going to see both Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders at some point this season start some games. Kenny Pickett, I love you, buddy. You can take the gloves elsewhere.
Well, according to Boog, the only 2 gloves we acknowledge is Teddy Bridgewater. But now let's get to the boots, where the Saints QB1 spot is still up for grabs. But according to head coach Kellen Moore, it's an extremely tight race.
It's really, really close. Numbers, experiences, reps, everything. It's going all the way back to start of training camp. Everything is very, very close between this group. And so we're kind of staying in this middle. And, you know, obviously you'd like for it to make a decision, and we'll get there as we go. But, you know, I think both these guys are putting in tremendous effort, tremendous work. They're both doing a ton of good things. And so we'll see how it goes.
Lewis, you've been high on Tyler Shuck the entire offseason, and I ain't gonna lie, that bus you were driving, I was sitting right behind you singing his praises. But have you liked what you've seen from him in the preseason?
Yeah, he's had some good moments, Ryan. I mean, have they been perfect? Absolutely not. Can you expect it to be perfect? Should you expect it to be perfect? No, but that's the world we live in, especially when you're dealing with a tightly contested quarterback race like that. Everything that he doesn't do good is going to be magnified. Look, he showed in the first preseason game against the LA Chargers coming in a 2-minute situation that he has good command of this offense at an early age. And it really, well, I should say at an early time in his development here with the Saints. He had a pick six. Kellen Moore came right back and had him continue to fire the football, hit a double move for a big play, score, and then, they really liked his resilience. Look, and then really in the second preseason game, it was just the opposite. Spencer Rattler had a pick six, came back and made some absolute laser throws in order for them to kind of get back in that football game. So I can see why they're saying that this is tightly contested. I think this third preseason game will tell the tale.
I think that's exactly what it is, Lou. It's the coaching staff does not feel that it's seen enough separation between these two to make a decision, and they're hoping that this week of practice and the preseason game will help inform it. Spencer Rattler has made it difficult on them. Tyler Shuck was the 40th pick in the draft for a new coaching staff. So everybody figured, well, that made, once Derek Carr retired, that made Shuck the favorite to start. But Rattler had a very strong offseason. He's had a very strong training camp. He has fans in that building, and there are people there that are interested in seeing what he can do. He's got 1 year of experience on Tyler Shuck, and I don't think at this point it would be a total surprise to see the Saints go with Spencer Rattler to start the season. If that's what they do, it's because he won what, so far, I think you can take Kellen Moore at his word, has been a very even competition.
Yeah, and I think we can't let people look at Tyler Shuck as the traditional rookie, right? This is a guy that had extensive time in college, and so he and Spencer Rattler are close in age. Spencer Rattler was a guy, a 5-star prospect. He was thought to be a first overall pick or first-round pick before he had to leave Oklahoma. So he has a ton of talent, and we're starting to see some of those things. So Kellen Moore has a big decision to make down the stretch here. Still to come, the Detroit Lions are tired of coming up short. But Sonic and Knuckles ain't about playing them children's games anymore. Could this league's best running back duo be ready to get
year after year? If they ever put it together, that offense could be scary.
Yeah, look, this Atlanta flies under the radar a lot. But this football team, especially on defense, considering all the firepower that they have kind of brought in, the youth movement, I think expectations are probably a little bit low for this football team considering what they have on offense. Yeah, I think this is one of those teams, when we're talking about those teams that can sneak up on some people, this is one of them for sure.
There are teams that have more skill position talent on offense. One of them is the Buccaneers, who win this division every year. And they take these guys in later rounds and build up the line and the defense with their first-round picks. There might be a lesson in that.
But look, Tampa Bay's legit. There's no question about that. But this team has high-end frontline players at premium positions that can just rip you. No, Atlanta, look, I think if you're Arthur Blank down there, you're saying, hey, Raheem, it's time to go now. It's really time to go.
All the youth is ready to go. Pick in the draft. I mean, he was supposed to completely. No, he hasn't. Not even close. And Drake London, who they drafted, and obviously Bijan. Let's see if the quarterback unlocks some of those. All right, the next one, RC, you found in L.A.
Yeah, Devontae Adams is going to have a